go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ask Anything presented by Moser Consulting. I'm your host, Angel Leon, Moser's Director of Personnel, and we're glad that you're with us for this episode of Ask Anything because today we're going to be reviewing the very best of Season 10 here on Ask Anything, and with me is the very festive producer, Brian. Tell us what are you? I feel like I'm on a red carpet in the Oscars. Tell us what you're wearing.
I am wearing my very popular and very highly esteemed and pretty much one of a kind holiday vest made for me by my niece Sistinus. It has been customized by me with the battery pack light show. I did it specifically for the Moser holiday party, which was this past week, this past Wednesday, from when we're recording now. Highly complimented. Like
Yes.
stopped at the grocery store on the way home from the party, and I've this thing makes people happy.
Yeah, no, it does. And we were at the Radiothon last week as well, last Friday.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you wore
Yep.
it. You wore it for that too. You were ringing the bell for the Salvation Army at the entrance to the store, and you got a lot of looks.
Yeah. Like it was impossible for people to say they didn't see me. Between the
Right.
vest and the bell, I was impossible to miss. Got a lot of looks and a lot of compliments at that too. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to do the Salvation Army event. We do that every year at Mosier, and I always volunteer
Mhm.
for it because it's always a good time. My grandfather fought in World War II, and one of the things he told me about it was that the entire time he was overseas fighting, the only organization that ever directly did anything for him while he was overseas was the Salvation Army. So to honor
Mm.
him and that, anytime we have a chance to work with the Salvation Army, I'm always there.
Yeah, no, it's a great event. Like you said, I don't recall how many times we've done it now in a row, but it's a wonderful event. I always love going like you, and it's so good. I love actually, especially like ringing the bell. I don't know why it brings a lot of joy. And then, of course, when you see people coming and approach you and just put something in that red bucket for the Salvation Army, it just warms my heart. So it's always good to do that. And of course, working the phone as well. I mean, you get high numbers, right? People that call in. This last time, I actually got one and I shared it with you guys while I was there. It was only a $2 donation, but the person that called in, they just wanted to make sure that, hey, I can't make it to a store or anywhere that there's a red bucket. I want to make sure that they get my $2. And so, you know, a quarter, two quarters, a dollar, $2, $20,000.
If you're one of those people that secretly drops in a Krugerrand every Christmas season, I always like that. It's like they find the old gold coin that somebody drops in every year.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I was well off enough to do something like
Yeah.
that.
Thank you to everyone who joined us that day, everyone who joined while we were manning the phones, everyone who called, and thank you for everyone who joined us at the Sullivan Hardware Store. Not sponsored, but thank you for them for having us and having the Salvation Army do their radiothon. Then we're at WIBC. A lot of fun. And speaking of fun, we have a great episode here for you because we are recapping season 10 and we are recapping the best of all the episodes that we had this year. And I think it's good that we're starting off with the first episode that we started this season, which was our interns. And basically, we had them in sort of talking through their internship, what it meant for them coming into the internship, sort of like at the halfway point, what happened throughout those first several weeks. And then at the end, we gave them a nice goodbye and we wanted to bring them back so that they could share their thoughts on how the internship went, et cetera. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to record, and it was a lot of fun having our interns here at Moser.
Yeah, this was our first foray into having interns in the marketing department at Mosier, and we picked two absolute gems, Lillian and Sydney. They both did a great job. They really helped us kind of flesh out what the internship was going to be and what it will be in the future. So it was a great first try at it, and they both had some really good suggestions and really enjoyed their experience, but ways to make it even better for the next people who join us as interns.
Yeah, the bar is set high. That's all I'm going to say. The
Yeah.
bar is set high. If you're thinking about Moser Consulting next year, the bar has been set high, especially for the folks in the marketing department, because these two were awesome and they just brought a lot of joy, a lot of curiosity, a lot of thoughts. They made everything so much better having them around. So it was a great time to have them around.
Yeah, and as you'll see in this clip, I very rarely get the opportunity to pontificate, but I did get to share a little bit of life experience and what, for lack of a better term, we will quote unquote refer to as wisdom with with Lillian.
Yeah, wisdom, the Brian wisdom. So here it is. Without further ado, here's Lillian.
So my greatest fear is that I won't be prepared. And but not to be negative, I do think that I have high hopes for Moser. And already within my first few weeks here, I have high hopes that they'll help me. But no, you can never not fear.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, to that, I would say there is no way to prepare for everything. You are going to miss something. The best thing that we can give you in this internship is the confidence and experience that no matter what, you can figure it out because you can. Story of my life. Oh, this is something I don't know about. Oh, I've never encountered this before. Give me a couple of seconds. We will figure this out.
And after Lillian, we had Marcus Reed and James McKean, who were with us earlier in the season, talking about the clarity of data-driven strategic goals. We had another interesting episode with Marcus and James where they brought it. Again, we love having them on because they have such a big knowledge on the things that they do from a business management standpoint, and they bring a lot of tidbits that are going to help you bring out the best in you in any business opportunity.
Yeah, they're always great guests. I'm always interested in the topics that they bring. It's always educational. They're always covering something that I don't know enough about, which, things I don't know enough about is a really wide category. But they're both so knowledgeable and they're both so good at explaining what it is that they're covering or talking about. Even with Jim's minor verbal calamity that occurred, it was a really great episode, and just the fact that he was trying so hard to invent a new word when measurable was literally all that was needed. It was like sometimes you get just a little too deep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was one of my favorite moments of the season.
A strategy is a set of decisions that you make about how you're going to allocate the resources you've got to accomplish some goal, some meaningful goal to you. And each one of those things actually lends itself to being metric driven, right? So you could think about what the goals are and how you know whether or not you're going to get there. You could think about what resources you have available to you under your control that you can allocate. You can think about how those are getting used and allocate. And you can think about where exactly those all kind of fit into your organization, right? So all of those things are what's the word I'm trying to say? They can
Measurable?
be metrified. They're measurable. Thank you. Thank you, Marcus. Yes, they're all measurable.
Able to be metrified.
Petrified. That's
cool
what I was
too.
trying to.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a good
Kind of cool
new
too.
term. It's cool. And from that, we're going to be talking about Red Hat, our Red Hat episode where we had three of our consultants. We had Vice President Sean McAdams, Tom McGinnis, and Matt Wren, a couple of our consultants there with our Vice President of Core Tech, Sean McAdams, talked with Tom Simmons from Red Hat in a podcast style presentation that they had for folks who were interested in their Red Hat advantage, where they were discovering competitive advantages and savings of the Red Hat platform. Another interesting tidbit from our Core Tech guys.
Yeah, and this episode was in partnership with Red Hat, and it went so well that we have, in fact, done another one that will then now be part of season 11. So if you liked that one, keep your eye out in season 11. We will have another round of the Red Hat Advantage in season 11.
You're talking about saving time on downtime. The personnel you put to managing something when it's breaking. This RHEL has almost a bulletproof reliability. And this is anecdotal, but I saw it. Literally, it was on the server. I'm like, do you mind if I take a screenshot? And it was the uptime of one server that we're looking at for a potential client. This system had been up without a reboot, without any patching, which we don't recommend. But the fact that you see something like this, it was a few hours shy of 7 years operation. The system had been running for 7 years without a reboot. My God, the amount of savings that thing was practically printing money.
I came from Samsung. I've been at IBM. I've been in others. It's one of the fastest time to values we've seen. And when customers build like a center of excellence around that and bring in network and the data center and other storage, that's when they really start to see the value. But what customers, a lot of our IT customers don't do is they don't come back and capture it. They'll say, hey, it was really great. Like, yes, but there are things you did. You have applications being deployed faster, so faster time to revenue. You have lower costs because you're more efficient use of your infrastructure. And sometimes it's even about power consumption because you're provisioning, deprovisioning devices that goes back to cost savings. And those customers are around have climate initiatives to say, I want to reduce my power. That's a cost, but it's also part of your strategic initiative.
So now we're moving on to Jeff Coates, who joined us to talk about the best practices in agile development. Jeff, of course, is a seasoned professional here at Moser Consulting, one of our top consultants, especially in that agile environment. He gave us some great tidbits about how to use agile in your professional setting.
Much better. My opinion, your opinion, a developer's opinion, while important, does not matter as much as the end user. What are our customers telling us?
Sure.
One of the kind of bumper sticker things, phrases for agile, at least for me, is good enough. If you strive for perfection, that's a noble goal. But in software development, it can be a pitfall of diminishing marginal returns, going after perfection. When do we have a product good enough to release out into the wild and let people start using it?
One of the best things you can do in an agile development as you're planning is to use ClearPath for Jira by Moser Labs at Moser Consulting.
So if you're interested in that, reach out to us here at Moser and we can definitely get you set up. And from agile development, we went to cloud computing with Jason Shive, Kirk Becknell, and Ron Dalton. They wanted to share their thoughts on cloud computing, the benefits, the challenges, and the expense of it all. So if you're thinking about moving your on-site premises network into a cloud computing one, this is the episode that you have to listen to, because Jason, Kirk, and Ron really dove into this topic and really shared their expertise in what maybe you can and can't do in order for you to transition into that cloud computing environment.
If you have some lingering questions or you're just starting to dip your toe into the possibility, they're going to cover a lot of information that will help you answer those questions you have. And then after the episode, if you have further questions, you would like a little bit more detail, absolutely reach out and we can put you in touch with them and they can answer any other questions or help walk you through your specific situation.
I think there are two things that I see a lot when I'm talking to people who are interested in moving to the cloud. It's the complexity of the migration. It will uncover gaps in your understanding of your applications when you try to move them and all of a sudden nothing works because it had some maybe underlying interconnectivity to things that you didn't know about at the time. Some workloads just don't lend itself to being cloud native. CAD applications comes to mind. That's one that we've seen people try to do a handful of times. But it usually, the latency between, the office, even the closest region is oftentimes too much for that. And then there's a skill gap. Most legacy, like big iron IT people, like Kirk said, they're a little bit afraid of it, maybe because they don't have a full understanding of it. But it does require you to think a little bit differently because you're not managing physical hardware. You can't touch any of these things when something goes wrong. Like a system administrator, if a server goes down, just going over there and looking at the server sometimes helps your thought process get moving, but you don't have that ability here with the cloud. So it's just a lot of understanding, changing your ways of thinking, and then fully understanding like what your application is doing and does it really lend itself to being a cloud workload.
From there, we went to the role of thought leadership with Melinda Lauder, our very own Melinda Lauder, the Director of Marketing and Sales here for Moser Consulting. We had another great conversation. She always brings it, podcast mom, brings it always here for us. She brings some very good topics for us to discuss. And this time, talking through the role of thought leadership in business, which I think as we unpack there, it was a very fun episode to record and just talk in general because we were just going at it on different topics around leadership. And it's one of those things that once you define what thought leadership is like, and then you go from there, you can go through so many angles. And it was a great conversation, another great one.
Yeah, Melinda never lollygags. I mean, we call her podcast mom because Ask You Anything literally was her baby. she was like, we need a company podcast. And thankfully On Hell was there to come in and help us figure out what it was going to be, what it would look like, what it would sound like, and to host very capably for what is now 10 seasons. We've 5 years, 2 seasons a year. I feel like Jeff Probst and Survivor because I got to do math. 10th season, 5 years. And it all came from Melinda saying, we should have a company podcast.
It could be writing a blog. It could be doing a podcast like this. You don't have to start a podcast. You could be on a podcast. We have guests, speakers all the time on ASCII from our company, from other companies that just want to talk about their industry, their expert area, things like that. It could be either creating a website or adding to a website, doing an infographic about a workflow or about something in your industry. At a higher level, it could be doing a TED Talk or a speaking at a conference. Even if it's just a small regional conference, talking about something that matters to that audience and your opinion of that topic. Anything that highlights an original concept and gets that into the world, that's really the meat and potatoes of being it, beyond philosophically.
And from thought leadership, we went to a subject that it's as important today as it was 10 and 15 years ago, and that is the subject of phishing. Phishing is the exercise where you get messages, emails, etc., where bad actors are trying to get your data. They're trying to get into the data of your company, and they do that through various means. They send you emails, messages, as I mentioned, and they try to get you to provide them with that data. We had one of our own, Hersey Richardson, explain to us why this is going on right now, how it's evolved throughout the years, and what it's going to probably look like in the future. So it was great to have Hersey talk to us about this very important subject.
Yeah, I mean, in this scenario, you are the fish. Your information is the fish. They're trying to bait you, and they're also using the net. Look at me.
Yes, you did it. You did it.
Thank you.
Oh, my Lord. It brings to the forefront a lot of things that even today, with the advancements in technology that we have, people are still unfortunately falling for scams like this. If you want to learn a little bit more about this, please listen to that episode with Hersey and with.
There's no longer a one stream method of authenticating. You need to go ahead and use multiple streams to ensure that you are not giving away confidential information. Unfortunately, cyber criminals are modern day psychologists, just in electronic form. Urgency tends to be the key indicator. I need this now. I need this as soon as possible. If you receive any documentation, email, voice call, whatever, urging you to move quickly, take a step back, breathe, analyze, and verify. Make sure that you always verify. You're going to hear that enough. Verify that this is an absolute, legit form of communication before you do anything. Worst case scenario, if you don't know, don't respond. Go get somebody from security, go get somebody from HR, and then allow them to help you make a sound decision.
And from Hersey, I hate to say this, but then we went to me. We went to, well, not me, but we went to Brian Robertson, who's our recruiter here at Moser Consulting, and myself. We had an episode called AI Job Fails, what not to do when applying using AI. So basically, you'll listen to a quick clip here from Brian. In a nutshell, this episode was really meant to those of you who might be looking at positions out there, who might be looking at applying for a job and how to maybe use AI to your advantage, how not to use AI, and make sure that you're actually being truthful, that you're actually being real, that your information and experience is correct. So please check that episode out. There's a lot of good information there for any applicants and even for companies that are looking at ways to hire people in this AI-driven world.
A lot of people have a hard time getting what they want to say on paper, and I think they use the AI to essentially do it for them. I don't disagree in doing that. I've worked with that before and trying to get things out on paper, but the biggest problem that I see is a lot of people do not tailor their resume after AI helps them. You want to be authentic. You want to have your own voice. But when, say, you're applying to a data position or a position that has a lot of applicants, well, a lot of those backgrounds are fairly similar. And if a bulk number of those people are using AI, those will come across looking very, very similar. and then no one stands out. I would say if you use AI, that is fine, but sit down, go through, see what AI writes out for you with the information that you give it, and then go through and tailor that in your own words, and then tailor it for the job itself. I think that's the biggest problem we have is people are just sending out volume, and they don't take that extra 10 to 15 minutes and go through what AI actually gave them.
And from AI in the job market, we went to AI in education. And joining us for this episode was somebody who's joined us before here at Ask Anything. It was Ari Moreland. She, as you are aware, or maybe not, but if you weren't, here you go. She was a teacher prior to becoming an IT expert here with us at Moser Consulting. Ari has a great deal of experience in the classroom, and so does now in the IT world. So she wanted to take a stab at what AI is really doing for education, not just here locally in Indiana, but really across the globe. AI is providing a lot of good tools for students, but it's also might be hindering a little bit. So definitely check out that episode. It's a topic that I think it's front of mind for a lot of teachers. Maybe some of you parents out there that are looking at your kids, maybe typing some stuff into ChatGPT, trying to get some answers. So just take a listen to that episode. It's a really interesting episode.
Yeah, the part about that was both that and the previous episode about AI. It kind of, one of the main points boiled down to basically being the same thing. You can use this to craft an answer to get your information kind of organized in a cogent way. But if that's all you're doing, then you're leaving the job half finished. You have to take what it gives you and personalize it. You have to put it into your own words, your own experience. That helps complete either your job application and helps you to stand out, because if everybody is putting their resume in and just letting it spit out, then they're probably going to wind up, as Brian said, looking and sounding very similar. And then how do you pick a candidate based on that if everybody's the same? Or sounds and seems the same. And also in the classroom, if you're doing that, then you're not taking that opportunity to take the information, absorb it, and then make it your own. You're not learning, and you're not learning.
We've seen students that will take the entire prompt, the entire question, throw it in ChatGPT, and copy and paste the entire answer, not do a single thought. It's very easy to undermine your education when you have your AI tools at your disposal. Super easy. But at the same time, that's what calculators were supposed to do. Calculators were too easy. We're undermining education. Translator apps were too easy, undermining your education. So we've previously had tools that could do that, because we've always had students that would rather not. And so that's kind of how I would start there, that we've always had things that can help you not do the work. And AI is just the most powerful tool we've ever seen to help you not do the work. At first, we were just saying, never use this, ignore it. It's all plagiarism. So that's where we started. And so now that we're finally moving away from that, first thing to do is acknowledge, hey, this can do the whole assignment for you, but it shouldn't. And here's why. And so to help them kind of see the value of productive struggle. So yes, sometimes you don't know the answer. Yes, sometimes things are hard, but they're supposed to be. That's where the learning happens. So help them kind of understand, why should I struggle, even though this can do something for me, and kind of get them to buy into that.
And now for John Cavanis, who's basically an Ask Anything all-star. He's one of our most valuable players, at least over the years. He's been, I don't know, I've lost count of how many episodes John has been with us, but he was here to talk about the Internet of Things and basically the transformative forces in modern technology, which is the Internet of Things and IoT, how smart homes, connected cars, and all that good stuff can actually work for you and help you in many ways. And John, as always, brought it. We had a great conversation around different topics. As I mentioned, products for your home, products for work, how all of that will make your life easier, and of course, how it works and interacts with the Internet of Things.
Yeah, John's ability to bring topics to us that are, pertinent and very interesting, and then also his ability to take you through these subjects is kind of unmatched. He's one of our best guests, and I think that's proven by the stack or the row of podcast related Golden Roby statues, which is an award we give out from the marketing department at Moser Consulting. John's kind of cornered the market on them the last couple of years with different things that he's done with marketing and for marketing and through marketing. We always appreciate him as a guest because he always does a really great job.
And here's the dark side of IoT. Though network security has gotten stronger from a availability standpoint, right? There's better systems out there now to secure and maintain a network. Humans are still prone to mistakes and overlooking things, and that can seriously open a lot of bad doors in relation to implementing this stuff. Security first is a big important taking away message from anything with IoT. Because think of it this way. Let's say you've got a warehouse, you implement a fleet of sensors, there's this whole infrastructure behind it. Maybe it's, virtually segmented away from production systems other than what it needs to talk to, for lack of a better term. That could be used as a jumping off point from an attacker if they were able to get in, right? Or they could use the information that they could get from that system to inform on, here's a part in the schedule where they work, where maybe I could do something, right? That kind of adjacent intelligence is often very valuable to an attacker. So it's tricky to compensate for what that outcome could be as well as what the risk could be. And the advice is simple. You really have to make sure that planning for the security around those operations starts on day one. Like as soon as, listeners, if you're considering going down an IoT journey, that's going to be your biggest hill to climb at the outset. How do I make sure that this thing is going to be secure to do, right? Because the outcome could be massive, but there's also that risk.
And from John, we went back to Melinda. She came back for another episode this season where we talked about tech for good. A lot of things can be said about tech, but I don't think that many of them are good. A lot of people always look at tech and they always look at the negative things of tech, but tech does work for a lot of good things. And so Belinda and I sat down and had a great conversation around what does tech for good mean and how really tech is doing good for people. We've talked about digital transformation, social media and awareness, mobile technology, and of course, AI and data analytics. There was a lot covered on that episode. So go check that out if you want to see and learn a little bit about what tech for good really can do for you.
The opposite of addiction is connection. That's been replayed a lot in a lot of different things. But I think the idea behind it isn't always about addiction. I think connection is the opposite of a lot of things. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I think that it's the opposite of loneliness. It's the opposite of isolation. It's the opposite of mental health issues. Connection is the opposite of a lot of those things. And the single thing that has caused connection is technology. Technology has fostered a role in creating connection for people more than anything else we've ever seen. Part of it is economics, affordability of people. If you're a charity and you're building an app for people to sign up for benefits or something like that, you need to be sure of a few things. You need to be sure it's built in a way that they can access it. Is it accessible on a phone? Is it also accessible on a 15-year-old PC that may not have been updated very often? You need to worry about those things. You're going to have a large audience with a lot of different resources. And some of them are going to be low resource. So you need to worry about those things. In the world of economics, funding for these things to build an app that has that much variety in it is going to be expensive. It's going to be more expensive than just building one that works on the newest technology. And then I think you have to worry about accessibility. I think you have to worry about making sure that anything you build, any technology you put together is available to those with disabilities, with visual disabilities or hearing. And I can't say enough about how far technology has come for people with disabilities.
And from Tech for Good, we went to a sci-fi robot battle royale. Yes, you heard that right. Producer Brian and I had a great conversation with several of our consultants here at Moser Consulting, and we discussed the best sci-fi robots. Just a creative conversation around sci-fi robots. And I thought, I don't know, we discussed a lot. Not gonna lie, I think conversation point that I was really interested in is the humanoid aspect. I think at one point we talked about the Terminator, maybe not necessarily being a robot, or is he really a robot, versus others. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun recording that episode. It was one of my favorite episodes that we've recorded this year.
We have a lot of very deeply technical and serious episodes that we cover, and then a couple of times a season, once or twice, or like a year depending, we just throw in a couple for fun, and that was one that we intended to be fun, and it delivered. I had a really good time just talking through. I learned about a couple of robots that I wasn't really that familiar with. Like there were some that I had missed, and like I was very happy to represent some of my favorite robots. And also the like delving into, say Voltron. Is he a robot because he's piloted, so there are humans
Right.
that are controlling him with things, or does it have to be like self-directed? Is it a cyborg? Where is umbrella of robot, and how do we parse that out specifically? If you're piloted by a human, is it a robot, or is it just a vehicle? Like if it has some organic, like cybernetic things like the Terminator or RoboCop, is that a full
RoboCop, yeah.
robot? We got into that, and I had a really good time.
That's really what fascinated me, is about that conversation about Terminator and RoboCop, because are they considered robots?
I still feel like Terminator 100%, because he was just encased in like an
Right.
organic, like thin layer of material so that he could pass through the time vortex, because you needed
Yeah.
that. But RoboCop, I mean, he's still got a brain, and he's still got the very creepy,
Half a
uncanny
face.
valley in it when the visor's off. But he's still, I mean, that's more like cyborg. And is a cyborg a true robot, or
Right.
where's the line? I found that conversation to be very entertaining. Your mileage may vary,
Yes.
but if you're tuning into a tech podcast, I feel like you're going to enjoy it too.
Yeah, exactly. And then again, in the end, we don't want to choose for you. So you make your own choice, but we hope you really enjoyed this episode. So without further ado, here is the team that we got to speak with.
And clearly the best robot is Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
Part of what robots always did, when we're little boys, we love seeing robots on screen.
We do.
But I think as you grow up as an adult, what the robot represents, particularly we saw Mr. Data in Star Trek, who should probably be on that robot list. It allowed the storytellers, the movie makers, the TV show producers, to comment on humanity by showing an external point of view where the robot wasn't human and could not necessarily relate to humanity. And thus it could be, it opened the door and gave a device for storytellers in the science fiction genre to explain, comment, examine human characteristics, human traits, and the human condition.
And finally, the last episode we're going to review on this podcast is going to be the Atlassian Builders Summit, which was an event that was organized by Alex and Lena Ortiz. You might remember Alex. He was with us several seasons ago talking about Atlassian and our very own ClearPath, which Alex has reviewed in his YouTube channel. And also our very own Mark Brickley, who's also a part of that ClearPath team, was actually attending the Atlassian Builders Summit. And he also spoke it was one of the keynote speakers at that event. So we were lucky enough to be able to get Alex and Lena to share what they thought about the event, what was like to really produce the event from its inception, from basically their thoughts in their heads to then basically when it became something real for them to actually do. So they walk us through their whole process, their thinking, their strategy, and what they might be doing next. So definitely check that episode out, because you're going to have a lot of fun listening to Alex and Lena talk to us about their expectation for the event and how it went and what's coming up.
Yeah, because they're going to be doing it again. They just recently announced that they have another one coming up in 2026. It'll be slightly different than this initial Atlassian Builders Summit, but they already have venue and dates and everything that they have announced. So be sure and look for that, because as Mark told us, it was a great event and he had a really good time being one of the keynote speakers, and just being able to, as a speaker, be accessible to the attendees, like at dinners and outings and just on the floor in the meantime. He really enjoyed it and is looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, I think the next one is going to be in Dallas, Texas at some point here this year. So definitely check out Alex's social media presence. He's very active on LinkedIn. And of course, they've got a YouTube channel as well. So check that out.
We had like a little epiphany moment of, wouldn't it be cool if there was like an event where you can go learn the technical aspects of the Atlassian tools, but a conference of like for the people, by the people kind of mentality? Because Atlassian, there's no shortage of events that Atlassian makes, but they're all very sales pitchy. They're all very, help Atlassian's bottom line, help their revenue. But wouldn't it be cool if you just like you learned something at a conference that was Atlassian related? So we put out a post on LinkedIn and the response was overwhelming. We had like some 15, 17,000 ish, something around there responses, right? Or just impressions of people were just like, this would be awesome. This would be great. Like I would go in a heartbeat. And so the idea got some legs and we just started running with it.
It wasn't just learning from a technical standpoint, it was also a career standpoint and helping people get those launching pads that they need. And I think that, that fits with what the Builder Summit was supposed to be, something to truly help people, not just like a marketing or sales type conference, but something that improves people's lives.
Now, there's a lot of that. And then like, I think one of the awesome thing that I think about the conference is like, and I go to the team conference. I had just gotten back from Barcelona, right? So that was like fresh a week, maybe what was it, 7-8 days before, 10 days before I was in Barcelona doing the team conference. And like you go to the sessions, but those are mostly always Atlassians and they're never to be seen ever again, right? Like they're gone. In this case, I love what Mark said, right? Mark does a presentation and he's at dinner. Like just being able to approach your speakers and continue that conversation, continue that network it's just there's not enough of that happening right now. I think we kind of teased it, right? So we are working not on ABS 2.0 because I basically have said I'm not doing that. But myself, Lena, Josh Kolosinski, Sean Doyle, we are going to come together and we are bringing a new event very similar to the spirit of ABS in Dallas. And so this is coming in 2026. And so we are already immediately taking all those lessons learned from this event, and we're starting with our best foot forward.
And with that, we've come to the close of this episode. But before we get to that, we also want to shout out our items episode that came out just a little bit after Black Friday. So if you still have some gifts that you want to check out, please check out that episode. It's got tech gifts items for you to check out and buy. Maybe you still need to buy something for that stocking stuffer. Maybe you pick up some of those items.
Yeah, that's always one of my favorite episodes that we record. It's also one of my most expensive episodes that we record because I'm basically an 8-year-old that you send into a gas station with $100 bill unsupervised. I'm coming out with an armload every time we do one of those episodes. I'm like, ooh, and oh, and that, yep, that too. I have to really be careful when we're recording those. You were also a fan of the mouse, weren't you?
Yeah, I haven't bought a new mouse, but I was literally looking on Logitech this morning, like, what all do you have before the wellness bucks at the end of the year run out?
The holiday gift idea episode is already successful. We already have something. It hasn't even been released yet, and boom, here we go. Bodes well for after it being released.
Yeah, you might have heard some clickly clackling for me, and that was me just searching things and keeping them in my cart. So
yeah, and anytime I'm doing this, that's me adding something to my cart.
yeah. So sorry, honey, when the Amazon packages start coming in the door. And with that, it's been another great season here on Ask Anything. Season 10 is in the books, as Brian noted earlier. We do 2 seasons a year. So basically it does feel like 10 years, but no, it's not 10 years. It's only been 5. We've been with you for 5 years, and it's been a very enriching, wonderful experience to be with you for the last 5 years. I know I've certainly enjoyed it. I know Brian does as well. We've had a blast recording these episodes for the last 5 years, and we can't wait to give you more. So for producer Brian, sir, any last words?
It was a great season. It was a great whole year. It's been a fantastic 5 years, and I'm looking forward to year 6, season 11. We will see you sometime early in 2026. Look for us to drop our premiere episode of season 11 sometime late January or early February. Thanks so much for tuning in. We really enjoy it. And if you're listening to the audio only version of the podcast, I would highly recommend taking at least 10 seconds to find us on YouTube at Ask You Anything on the Moser Consulting channel, just to see this fantastic crocheted holiday Christmas vest that my niece crocheted for me. It's worth the time to find it just to see this. You can ignore my face and just focus on the good part, which is the vest.
I have to say, it's a must see. It definitely looks way more impressive in person. I hate to say it, but it does. So if you see Brian walking around and he's wearing that, stop him.
At no point will you ever say, I wonder if that's the vest he was referencing. If you see it, you will know.
So with that, thanks again for producer Brian. I'm your host, Angel Leon. It's been a pleasure to have you here on Ask Anything for 5 years. We look forward to seeing you in year 6. So long, everybody.